Degenerates. We've had such a beautiful, beautiful November. We are like 2 weeks away from Thanksgiving. It's crazy. Time is flying by. But I'm sitting in front of two really wonderful entrepreneurs, Latinas. I'm going to let y'all do y'all's introduction because I'm not going to be able to do it justice. But the founders of Cuidate clothing brand, which we're going to talk about, and you guys should totally 100% check it out. We're rocking the brand today. So it's all about y'all today. So we're here in our studio. Before we get to the nitty gritty and our shit talking and our usual day-to-day craziness, we hope that you guys have liked all the videos that we've been posting. Top 50 tacos in Texas. We talked to Jose Ralat. We talked to Miguel Cobos at Vaquero Taquero here in Austin. Go check out that episode. We've also talked to Suzette Reynoso and her Tot Box business in Round Rock, Texas. So please go check out that if you want to hear a really compelling story of a Latina entrepreneur that's killing it over there. But in the meantime, we're here with Cuidate. How you guys doing?
Hi. We're good, thank you.
We've been trying to make this happen for like 3 weeks.
Yeah, I know.
Almost a month. Yeah. Almost since the Bonita Project mixer. That's how we met.
I know. Yeah.
Really,
Yeah.
Which is a little over a month probably, I think, right?
Yeah, it was the 3rd, October 3rd. So, oh my gosh, it's been
over a month.
Over a month.
It's been crazy.
Yeah. Crazy work. Just
I know. And you guys were like one of the like last people that I talked to.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of like.
And we told you too, like when we go to events together, we force ourselves to separate and go find other people because if not, we'll just like always stay together. And then
I was nervous for that mixer.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Bonita Project, New York agency. I was nervous because I knew in advance that it was going to be like primarily makeup and a lot of women, this and that. And not that I was nervous about the women, but I was just nervous like they're going to all be talking about the same kind of stuff, trying to network in their own way. And I don't know what I bring to the table. So it's actually been like really fun to watch everything that has happened because of that mixer. So it was really good. Shout out to the Bonita Project.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. We met one of our really good friends too. His name is Jack there. And we met you too. We met a few other girls too that are going to model as well, like for Cuidate.
That's fantastic.
So, yeah, it was
We have some
amazing.
plans together for your brand also, which are really exciting, which we'll get to eventually. You guys will see it. Don't worry. I'll put it everywhere. Yeah, we went out drinking. We've broken bread together.
Yeah.
The proverbial bread. Tell everybody, because I already know you guys' story. So tell everybody what Cuidate is.
Do I ever look in the camera?
You can if you want to, but you can just talk to me.
I'd rather do it more natural, I guess. Okay. Well, Cuidate, like Juan said, we were founded by two sisters. We're first generations here, and it's dedicated to our abuelita. She was back in Mexico, and we never really saw her throughout our lives, just a few times because she wasn't able to come visit the United States. So she would always end the phone call with Cuidate, which impacted us because I felt like she meant it from a way deeper meaning since we're first generation here. Like her whole family, like all her kids moved to the United States, and then her grandkids, were born over here. So I felt like she meant it from a way deeper meaning, like take care of yourself over there. So yeah, we just made a brand. Cynthia actually had a previous clothing brand, so this is how we got into clothing. But I think it's just our way to spread the awareness of taking care of yourself and just representing like proudly that we're first generation. I think one thing we're going to talk about later too is the struggles of like being here and like not having a mentor necessarily is like where we've been at. And but yeah, so we're just proudly representing what the word Cuidate means, and which means take care in English. And I think everyone has their own like, unique way of taking care of themselves.
That grandma bit is like, that's strong.
Yeah.
Because like both my grandmas, they never said Cuidate, but like I had one grandma that every single time I would leave, like she had to like grab me and like me persinaba and like to would start praying to like all these all the saints, like the saint of travel and the saint of like your good luck and the saint of this, everything. She started praying. She started talking to everybody, and I was like, okay, I gotta wait. You know what I mean? I gotta wait till this is done because this is like rite of passage kind of shit. And I was never religious, even as a teenager. Like I was never religious. My parents let us not be religious, which is kind of a big deal in the Mexican community. We can talk about. I think maybe we can get into what it means to be first generation Mexican specifically and what happens traditionally. And I've got a lot of examples of how it wasn't necessarily as traditional for me. But that's one of them. Like if we didn't want to be religious, they didn't let us. Both my parents were college educated. My dad was about to be a doctor in Monterrey. My mom had her bachelor's degree in communications. So they're just like highly educated people. And, but I would still like sit there and like my grandma would be going for it, and my other grandma would just like cooked really well. So anytime grandma would say anything, we were just like, we have to listen, we have to pay attention. So and they're both now dead, so we have like a very, 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 very fond, strong memory in our family of our grandmothers, and like your brand symbolizing that it's kind of warm for me. It's very like kind of like weirdly therapeutic in a way, which I don't know if that's what you intended, but that's I think because of the association, and maybe also because whenever we talked, you talked about your grandmother, and So now in my mind, I'm like, oh, that's what I associated with. So I kind of feel a little bit of the like warmth in general of like abuelita there. You know what I mean?
And it's also like that's what our clothing is supposed to represent, is like a hug from a loved one that's like far away or maybe has passed already.
Is that your motto? Is that the motto?
Yeah, it represents a warm hug, Okay. And we specialize in crew neck, so we're happy it's like crew neck season.
Because it really does it.
Shout out. So y'all gotta go buy stuff. If y'all like this, look. Where's my...
Keeps you warm.
If you like it, go. Where can we get it before we keep going? Online?
Yeah, online.
Instagram.
www.cuidateatx.com.
Yeah. Damn, and Austin repping. See, yes. If you're in Austin and you're Hispanic and Latino and you're struggling to find more community, right here, there you go. Yeah, for sure.
I think it's really awesome, like how you said that your grandma would. Persinar you too and stuff like that, because it's so crazy. Our grandma did it too the very few times we went as well, but like even now it's crazy how much you miss that, even with not being too religious. You just miss that, from her.
I miss her.
So, and her,
it was mostly her, because even whenever I was in my like early 20s, I was able to be around her with my thoughts about the world a lot more mature. And like, I knew my place in the world a little bit better. So I knew even when she was doing certain things, that like customs, I like knew like these are like gestures and mannerisms that are coming from a very like long line of a belief system and community and this and that. So I just let it happen. It wasn't like I was like pushing against her or whatever, but because this was the way that I knew she loved people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's what she knew.
So it wasn't even, it had nothing to do with like my views or my stances on Catholicism, because we grew up Catholic, or religion in general, but it was more so a like a powerful moment where I knew like this is how this woman likes to love people. So the fact that like she's sitting me down and choosing to like love on me like that, it was like super, super great in those moments. You know what I mean? Whereas like if some random dude was like, yeah, I want to, or if a Jehovah's Witness was like knocking, I'd be like, I'm not showing the fuck up.
My God.
Like, don't open the door for the fucking the Jehovah's Witnesses. Funny story, when I was a kid, when I was like really young, I used to call them Jemima's Witnesses because I thought that that's what they said. I thought my mom was like, they're like Jehovah's Witnesses, and in my brain, I didn't like hear her right, so I would call them Jemima's Witnesses for the longest time to like high school. I'm talking about nobody corrected me.
Yeah.
No one corrected me. No one was like, it's Jehovah's. And so I would just be like, the Jemima's Witnesses. And people would laugh. And I'd be like, oh, okay. Like, what, I don't know what's so funny, right? And then later on, I don't know what it was, but somebody was talking about it. And they're like, oh, this is, oh, no. I was watching somebody say the Almighty Jehovah. And they said that. And I was like, Jehovah? Who's Jehovah? and then I looked it up and I was like, oh. I've been saying this wrong for
But
years.
I feel like there's so many moments in that, like, just being bilingual where you, like, at least for me, I've had a lot of moments where I see a word, like, written out, and I'm like, oh, like, I was saying that wrong this whole time. Or, like, one thing that we talked about is, like, how we would say, like, bottle water instead of water bottle. Like, we flipped it, our brain flipped it.
But it still makes sense. Bottled water.
Yeah,
right?
It does, but it feels weird. Like, I don't know, it feels weird coming out. Like, I don't know. Maybe
I think it's because like if somebody comes up to you, if somebody tells you across the counter, would you like a bottled water? Then it makes sense.
I guess I'm missing the of. Bottle of water. I just put bottle. Yeah. Bottle water.
Maybe bottled is maybe the ED.
Bottled. Yeah, the ED. Yeah. Because bottled. I've had people tell me like, would you like some bottled water? Yeah. But if I'm using it as like, give me my water. If I say give me my bottled water, then that's a little weird.
Yeah. See, I think it sounds like, I guess how you're using it. It depends, but yeah, like I have such a big problem with mixing up words in general.
That's okay.
Dyslexia. I don't know. I need to go check that out.
I think it's just like, I used to have a really big stutter when I was a kid, like 5 years old all the way to like maybe 7, like really, really bad. Like I had to see like a speech therapist and stuff. Mm-hmm. And the speech therapist was like, there's nothing wrong. He's just learning 2 languages right now.
Yeah.
And so he's getting stuck between saying things and what he knows, and he's probably thinking in Spanish. Yeah. And then he's trying to say the words in English, so se traba. Yeah. You know what I mean? And he doesn't know where to go.
That's how we were. We went, we were like thrown into preschool only knowing Spanish, no English, and there was no Spanish teacher to help us. So like we were like forced to learn like English. And it's true at a certain age you mix it. Like you're like, wait, like what's the difference?
Do you guys think in English now or think in Spanish?
I think primarily English, just because I know it more. But I've been like writing more and thinking in Spanish too, just so it doesn't like go away and it doesn't you know, even get more mixed up. So but primarily English. How
about you?
Well, my day consists of Spanish since I'm a bilingual teacher.
So you killing
all day I'm Spanish,
you're
and
Spanish,
I'm working with kids like in your situation too, like where I'm like, hey, I know we're really comfortable with Spanish because this is what's spoken in like their homes, but we need to start learning English. And it's a really tricky area because you have like different sounds, like your alphabet, it's the same alphabet but different, like not the same alphabet, I know.
Well, even like the way you move your tongue and stuff, right? Yeah. Like if you're gonna roll your R's or if you're gonna say the if you're gonna, you know what I mean? It's just like a different, like soft syllable or soft vowels, like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm sure you know what I mean. That's crazy. I dream in English and I think in English, but I can speak relatively fine in Spanish. Yeah. I had a meeting with the girl that's in charge of Guess Head in Austin. Mm-hmm. Do you guys follow that account?
I don't think so.
Guess Head in Austin. She blew up recently. She has like 200,000 followers on Instagram and stuff. She's like blowing up. And I had a conversation with her. She's from Monterrey also, and she's talking to me completely in Spanish. And I'm like trying my best to follow along. And I think I did a pretty good job. She was like, "Oh, that was really good," but you could still see sometimes where I'm like, I don't know that word yet. Like it's just a complicated word in English, right? I'm using like post SAT words in English because I could communicate very well in English, but I don't know that word in Spanish. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I'm like, fuck, I don't know I can communicate. If this was a board meeting right now, I'd be killing it in English, you know? So I think in English, I dream in English, but I can still speak in Spanish. And every time I'm in my parents' house, we don't speak English. In my parents' house, we just speak Spanish. I might like
parents know English?
Yeah.
Oh,
My parents are fluent in English also.
Oh,
they
cool.
after they came here. So when was it? This was, I'm 32, so 25 years ago. 25, 26 years ago, they didn't know a lick of English. And since then, my dad's fluent in English. My mother's fluent in English. They can speak very well. They speak to white people every day.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And they're very comfortable. They,
awesome.
One of our biggest shining moments that we talked about with our mom is that she was able to cuss off a white person for the first time. It was like 10 years ago, but she like did it with confidence. She said it with her chest, and we were like, "That was good. Like you did it right."
She's like,
yeah. She was like, "I'm with it." And then afterwards, she cussed him out in Spanish. like more passionately. Yeah. Because Spanish is a little bit more passionate. But she was able to do it right in English, and we were like,
you gave her a round of applause.
Can't stop us now.
Yeah.
we out here, you know? So they're both fluent in English. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I think going back to also what you said about your abuelita like feeling comfortable and everything around her, it made me think of Becky G. We love Becky G.
She's hot.
Yes, she's very hot.
She's hot
very
as fuck.
Hot.
She's sorry, I'm the guy in the room, so I gotta break the like she's hot as fuck, Becky. Yes, keep killing it.
She's hot, and she's going to like continue to grow. I know she is. I don't know.
She's been in the industry since she was like 15, right? Like 15, 16, like
since singing in the shower.
She sang that too. We went to her concert.
Yeah. And she's been on fire. Well, it's steady rising, but like right now she's kind of iconic.
Her last two albums were more like regional, like Mexican. And
fire. We love that.
She has one song in there that's called like dedicated to Abuelito. And I think that's how we know who we can relate to when it comes to artists, because if you like hear the song, I recommend hearing it alone because it's sad.
Damn, so don't play it right now. Don't play it right now, camera guy. Don't play it.
She was singing at her concert and she like needed a moment, and I needed a moment too.
Of course.
But it just talks about how like, you know, she was rich back then, like when she would go back to Mexico and like have her abuelitos, and it's just like seeing that makes me like, it brings warmth to my heart because it's like that's how I felt too.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I haven't listened to a lot of Becky G, but I like her from a distance because I haven't necessarily like found her music in that kind of way, but I know of her and I've known of her. She's from LA, right?
Yeah, she is.
Yeah. So I know a little bit about that. I think I might have actually been around her at some point because whenever I was in LA, when in my late teens, we were always around like industry people. It's part of the reason that I hate LA. LA is so fake sometimes, but we were around a whole bunch of industry people when I was sponsored, and we would constantly be around like these up and coming artists. So there's a chance that we might have been around the same areas or whatever. But I've known about her name for like such a long time. I in my mind, I think she's like uber famous because she's I've just known about her for such a long time.
Yeah, she's been just like very
just
I guess well known still all these years, you know, which like sometimes artists end up like falling out. You don't hear from them, they stop making music.
But she's consistent.
But I feel like she's definitely like, especially this new album she dropped, like you can really feel like all the passion she put behind it and how proud she is to be like Chicana and stuff. So I think it's so cool to have someone that like you relate to, like, you know, in the music industry, and like you're just like, you know what, like I may not personally write songs, but if I were to write a song,
that'd be it.
This would be it, you know.
Do you guys I confused her a little bit with Caliucci for a second because when Telepatia came out and like that song was blowing up, I didn't know who Caliucci was, so I was like, this has to be Becky G. Like, if this is Becky G, she's fucking killing it right now because that song is fire. But it wasn't. And I was like, oh, okay, well, at least there's another artist out there that's like kind of like blending this world of like, in the song she's got some English stuff and then some Spanish stuff and then you're just kind of going. I was like, that's kind of dope. Do you guys relate to the Chicana experience? Do you guys call yourself Chicanas? That's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I've never used it growing up. I always just use like first generation, like, you know.
What's the technical term? Look up what Chicana means. Let's see. Let's figure out in real time.
I personally have never used it to describe myself.
CHICANA. And then just
what do you mean? It's
definitely.
because there's a lot of controversy, like, I guess.
An American woman or girl of Mexican origin or descent. See, I don't feel like that's right. Yeah. Because like it has to say something about the fact that you're not in Mexico. An American, I don't know.
I just know it gets like a little controversial when it comes to like terms like Hispanic, Chicano,
Latino, Latina.
Like I'm just like, I'm Mexican American.
Yeah. I call myself like I wouldn't call myself Chicano, but it's because all the Chicanos that I know have a very different culture.
Yeah.
And all the like Tejanos that I know that call themselves Tejanos have a very different culture.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like there's some Chicanos that I know that are here in Texas, but most of the Chicanos that I know that are like Chicano and proud are all in California.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and this also goes into like I think they just embrace that term a lot more, and like this goes to the like cholo, like cholo and Chicano that kind of has this like very close-knit relationship. I don't know the nuances, so I don't know if they're the same, but they, in my mind, they correlate a lot.
Yeah.
But like, a lot of cholos are Chicanos, first, second, third generation, grandchildren of, or great-grandchildren of first generation, Mexican Americans, and they have their own thing. They do their own thing. They kind of, follow their own rules. They think about American life in their own way. So that's why I wouldn't call myself Chicano. I still have like very deep memories of Mexico, and very like, so my identity crisis is a little bit different, but I've been around a lot of Chicanos, and their culture is really great. I really like it because we share a lot in common. The food is very similar. Sometimes the way we talk is very similar, but then also they also have like very different, like if you think about the cholos and Chicanos that I know in LA, for example, there's a lot of like different clothing styles. There's that, that's where you get a lot of the like the flannel, only the button up at the top with the Converse and the Dickies and the you know what I mean? Which is dope, you get very specific like tattoo styles and the way that they, very specific hairstyles. Yeah. I'm thinking about that movie. What was it called? The Accountant. Have you guys seen that movie? With Shia LaBeouf was like the token white guy in that movie.
I don't think I have
watched it. He looks so good in that.
Yeah.
Like,
Shia LaBeouf?
Yeah,
he kills it, right?
Good, yeah.
He looked like, I remember, cause he, like, Shia LaBeouf is the whitest white boy ever, right?
Yeah.
But then in this, he really goes into this character, and when you watch the movie, I remember I was with my sister, and we watched the movie, and my sister was like, "Is that Shia LaBeouf?
Yes.
Why don't he look like that all the time? Like, what's going on? Like, he's over here looking all white and like
right
hipster
there.
and shit, but like." What's up? Like, why don't you look like that? He really pulls off that, and it's funny because in Mexican neighborhoods, there almost always is like that one white boy that is there because of their family or whatever. They're like in the same circumstances, and they end up taking a lot of the customs. So they end up like that white boy at the carne asada. They end up like liking fajita. They end up talking like that. Yeah. I had a whole bunch of friends that I grew up with that were white and were in our neighborhood, and they essentially look like that because they would just be around us all the time. Yeah. So anyway, Chicano and Mexican American for me like feel very different. I don't know if that's why I was asking if you guys like relate to the Chicana word, or if you guys just use Mexican American.
Like I mean I've never called like myself like a Chicana, but for the same reasons why like most like people who call themselves Chicanos are like in California. That's one thing like that I learned like in my studies in college and all that. And like I also I'll say like we'll say Latina owned, but we'll embrace like to be more specific, we'll just say like Mexican American, or just like Mexican too, like just like
I do that too.
Like instead of like having to really like I guess go into detail, just keep it simple. Mexican.
Yeah. Sometimes I'll call myself Latino, and like I've been in situations to talk about because you mentioned networking earlier, right? So like sometimes I've been in networking situations where people introduce me as Latino, and then I'll be around a whole bunch of like Colombians. And I'm like, we're not the same. Like I'm Mexican, you're Colombian. We're not the same. Or I'll be around a lot of Argentinians or Colombians. And mind you, like I like being around them. Like I really enjoy Latino culture in general and everything that we have to offer. But in those moments, I'm realizing like in this conversation, we're having a great time and we're like in it or whatever, and like But in terms of like what I can actually bring to the table in terms of like how we relate, it's very slim. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, imagine talking to a Puerto Rican, like if somebody like Bad Bunny was around you, like you'd be like, yo, we're Latinos. And like I vibe to your shit and in y'all's culture and stuff like that. But like, I don't really know how to like communicate with you past a certain point in terms of like how to relate with you. Cause even the way you talk, I'm like, I'm not gonna talk like that, you know.
And certain words too.
Certain words, certain meaning.
Like we
different.
were just talking about how like, and Cubanos use like descarada differently versus like how, like if you were to call someone in Mexico that, they would take that very
yeah.
They're always like, nah, you're like adventurous and all this and that, and I'm just like, yeah, don't say that.
Yeah, don't speak like that to me, right? Don't be disrespecting me just like that. You know what I mean?
Or it's like that one TikTok sound where it's like, when my job wants me to interpret or like Spanish, and it's like, what kind of Spanish are we talking about? Like reggaeton Spanish, or are we talking about more like Mexican Spanish? You know?
It's funny. I have a whole bunch of Colombian friends, and they use the word mamado, and for them, mamado means like jacked. Like for them, you see what I'm saying? So like they would. I remember we were all in a place where we were all working out because we worked in the same place, and they were all like being really active. And the Colombian guys were like, man, me siento bien mamado, like, what this and that. And like me and like 2 other Mexican people over there were like, what? Like, why would you say that, right? And then they were like, yeah, like bien mamado, like está bien mamado. And we're like, are you saying like you look jacked? And they're like, yeah, like I'm like, I got a good pump going. And we're like, that's not what that means in Mexico, bro. Don't go to Mexico and call yourself mamado like that, because it's not gonna be a good time for you.
We also found out too that apparently like Cubanos use like papaya differently.
Papaya? Like it's not the fruit?
It's not the fruta. It means like vagina. That's what
oh my gosh, yeah.
And I was like, wait, okay, well now I know to not ever go.
You know who else uses and now this just clicked. I don't know which country, but there's other countries that use cuca as vagina, right? And it's so funny because cuca is the nick. You know how like Sergio means chacho or something like that. There's like a short term. Well, my grandmother's name is Cuca. Like that's the way that she the people call her in the neighborhood, right?
Yeah.
Or you know, because that's like. Her name, but cuca in other languages, in other country, in other Latin American countries means vagina. So it's just really funny that like all this stuff, all these different straws also. Yeah. Like in Mexico we use a popote, right? Yeah. And I think in Colombia they say pitillo. And if a Mexican is like, hey, give me el pitillo, like that's not we're not saying the same thing.
Or concha too.
Or concha.
Argentinian, I think means like
vagina, concha. And then for us it's bread. You know what I mean? It's just like yeah, man. Imagine me like as a Mexican be like, man, you know what sounds good right now? Fucking concha right now. And an Argentinian being like, not at the table. not at the table. And I'm like, where do you want me to eat the concha? I'm not eating in my room. That would be a funny skit if an Argentinian and a Mexican did that.
But I think that's like the awesome part about like us being so different is like I think that's all like funny, and I want to continue to like know funny like things that like in my Spanish that like I have like from Mexico. I know we have different words, but it's like I want to continue to know more words like that because they're just funny, like you said. Like, what do you mean? Like I'm saying something completely different if I were to go to another country.
Why are we not understanding?
We're not clicking.
It's not clicking.
We're not clicking. We can dance the same right now, but we're not like we can't use the same words. It's so funny. Yeah. I often find myself like the thing that I find to be really unique about me, my experiences is if I'm around a lot of Mexicans, I tend to speak like a Mexican. But then if I'm around a lot of Colombians, I will adopt. I will like code switch in Spanish.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, and this kind of goes back to the thing where I was like, I think in English and I speak and I dream in English. I like gather my thoughts in English, right? Yeah. I'm an artist in English, but then when I'm speaking Spanish, it's almost like I have this like amount of words that I know and that I can use it primarily in like norteño slang, right? Because that's where I'm from. But if I'm around a lot of Colombians, my speech pattern will change. The way that I like talk about things will change. If I'm around Puerto Ricans, I'll start saying like "ya tú sabes" all the time, you know. And So much so that I've had Puerto Ricans and Argentinians and Colombians be like, are you from Colombia? Are you from Argentina? And I'm like, no, I'm from Mexico. And they're like, Mexicans don't talk like that. Yeah. But it's because I kind of code switch into that world in the same way that I grew up in inner city Houston, Texas. Mm-hmm. We were predominantly Hispanic, but there was a lot of black people also. And we were neighboring 3 black neighborhoods, like lower income black neighborhoods. So like culture wise, we spoke very Houstonian slang, which is black slang. Mm-hmm. Excuse me. And then we also were really heavy into hip hop. So then we also spoke with like hip hop and Ebonics essentially. Yeah. So then it was like a little bit of Ebonics and then a little bit of like Mexican slang or like Hispanic or like with the accent or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I'll code switch into that. So like if I'm at a meeting with a client or something, I'm speaking like this primarily because this is typically how I speak now in English, right? Yeah. But if I go back to my neighborhood in Houston and I see somebody, completely different speech pattern, you know?
Yeah. I used to do that too. Like I dated a Cuban and I would always like, cause he said coño a lot. So I would start saying coño too, and I'm like, who are you turning me into? But it was
blasphemy.
And I love
was like, can you stop? No.
No, there was a funny moment too where recently we took an Uber and she was from Germany, so she was driving and she slammed on her brakes and then she went Scheisse, which means I think like a bad word, like shit, right, or probably. Something, or fuck, I don't know, But we started to say it, like just because like she was so sweet.
I had a Russian mentor for a good minute, so I now cuss in Russian sometimes.
Yeah,
I'll cuss in Russian. I also was around a whole bunch of Argentinians for a while, so sometimes I would say carajo. Because they'll say they'll say coño like in the same way that like some Cubans will say coño. Yeah. Argentinians say carajo. They'll be like carajo, right? Yeah. Or Colombians will say hijo de puta a lot.
Yeah.
And they'll just say it for nothing. They'll be like hijo de puta, like blah blah blah, and they'll just say it for whatever. Or Colombians will also say gonorrea.
Oh, yeah.
Gonorrea. They'll be, and they say gonorrea as like a good time, like fue una gonorrea, right? I already did the accent right, and I'm like, that's a disease, my guy. Like you don't want to do that on a Friday night. You know what I mean?
I literally was telling her too. I was listening to Karol G and Becky G's song "Mami."
Yeah.
And Karol G literally says "y tú con gonorrea" or something like that because she's Colombian, and so I'm just like, wait, did.
El perreo y la gonorrea, right?
Yeah,
like Puerto Ricans use perreo, el perreo, right?
Yeah.
Which kind of makes sense. Like if you're gonna go out there and be a perro, like whatever, you know what I mean? You're gonna go dog out. Like then it's fine. Like I kind of get it, right?
Yeah.
But like Colombians will be like, "Uy, fue una gonorrea," and I'm like, bro. When I first heard that, I'm like, I don't want to go where you went because wherever it is that you went, that's not a good time. I got,
That sounds awful.
That sounds like I gotta fix it afterwards. I gotta figure something out. Like Mexicans don't use that shit, right? Like,
no.
When
I heard that, I literally thought she was outing her ex for saying that he had like given her.
Had an
STD.
Yeah, so you immediately went into like, bro, you went to the drama, and she's just trying to have fun.
She said that. She said he had gonorrhea.
That's fire. Yeah. You were like, out him, sis. Like, like he ain't nobody. Fuck him.
Yeah, and then I found out it didn't even mean that.
They didn't mean it. It mean she wanted a party. Yeah. And you're like, that's the opposite of what I thought you said.
Literally the complete opposite.
That's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, it was so.
That's
funny.
So good.
The whole time I sang that song, I was like, he had.
You're over there telling people like, did you know that she did you know that he gave her gonorrhea?
Yes.
It started a whole rumor about a celebrity.
A whole rumor. I'm over here. I don't know why
she started a whole thread on Twitter.
Damn.
I don't know why in my head I didn't think that could have meant like something else because I know Karol G's not Mexican. I just don't know why in my head.
Facts. And also like, what in your right mind would make you think that saying gonorrea means that let's have a good time?
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
Just the word in general, right?
Yeah.
Like, what?
But I was around a whole bunch of man, fue una gonorrea, and they'll say it like that, and I'm like.
That's how I felt like when I watched Money Heist. I was obsessed with Money Heist, so I watched it in Spanish,
Bella Ciao.
Yes, and I like
Watching it in Spanish is so good, though. Yes, watching it in Spanish is so much better than watching it in English. Yeah,
it's definitely like a challenge to keep up with like the Spanish that they're
After
speaking.
the first season, though, you're good. You kind of get it. You're like in the rhythm. Yeah.
You're just like, oh, I know what that word means. Yeah. But I would adapt to like, or I watched like Colombian TV shows too, and like I'll adapt to like their accents as well. And I think it's just a thing we have with like speaking two languages. It's like we naturally want to like soak in like new words, you know. So
Money Heist is so good though.
It is. I've been trying to tell her
Who's your favorite character? You should watch it.
I haven't watched it.
Cynthia, watch Money Heist. It's so good.
I will.
Casa de Papel. Let's fucking go.
I will.
It's so good. You're gonna get hooked, and then you're gonna be singing Bella Ciao nonstop.
Really? And it's also because it's like, well, like you want them to like steal this money. You want them to succeed, but they're bad.
But they're bad people.
They're doing it illegally.
Who's your favorite character? Sorry, we're gonna exclude you for a second.
No, it's okay.
I think.
Can I guess? Can I try to guess?
Yeah, I guess.
Tokyo.
Yes. I guess if there's like a favorite female in it.
Okay. Favorite female is Tokyo?
Yeah.
Okay, favorite male. Berlin. No? Who's the favorite guy?
I think Rio.
Is that Tokyo's dude?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're into the love story. You're into the love story.
She loves the romance.
Yeah, you're the romance.
I don't know. I think for me, like, I think Berlin, I mean, they were both really smart, like, the way they planned this whole heist, and, like, not just that one, but, like, you know,
multiple
I think Berlin
ones.
even has his own TV show,
right? It's really good, too. It's really good. There's romance in that one because he falls in love.
Maybe I started it, but
you should watch it.
He's all about love.
Yeah,
he is all about bringing love
and
into his heist.
And he is so narcissistic. He is a narcissist through and through. But the way that he falls in love with this French girl, I'll let you go. I'll let you watch it. Watch it. You can text me about it. Be like, yo, that shit was crazy. Yeah, but anyway.
I need to watch that one, But yeah, no, I know I've been telling her like to watch it, and I told her, I was like, it may take you like an episode or two to get into like getting to know so many characters because you like unlock all the characters at once. And I was like, but once you start to get to know them, then you like attach to them, and then like it's so sad. Like I was so sad once they started to like die off, like little by little.
But it was kind of like it was kind of expected though. Like they can't all stay.
I know they all can't succeed in this, but it's like so damn sad.
My favorite character for the girl is not Tokyo. What's the girl that died?
I forgot her name.
Nairobi.
Nairobi was a
badass. Gosh, she was so great. She was so good. Actually, but that show has so many great characters. It's not even funny. Like even Tokyo's good. She's crazy. Yeah. She's erratic, but she's hot. So, you know, you kind of have to make the hot girl be like fucking erratic and shit. You know what I mean?
Adventurous,
But I also really like the girl cop. On the fourth season, the third and fourth season, the redhead, the pregnant girl, she is badass. Yeah, she is like no joke.
She like
and the way they introduced her too,
like I felt the tension.
Yeah, you're like, bitch, what? Like, what's happening? Well, I think they introduced her on the plane because she's torturing the guy on the plane. So there's no like rules. There's no like there's no laws. They're not on sovereign land, so she can technically like fuck that guy up in the air. So they're just continuously in the air while she's torturing somebody. And I'm like, what a fucking way to introduce a woman character, like a female character and pregnant, and she was pregnant. Yeah, I was all like, oh yeah, these fucking this character development stories are on fire because like this is so good.
And I love how they're named after cities. Yeah. Like no one is supposed to know their real name or anything. But then also like when they go to their like background stories, like where you get those sneak peeks of like, who are you? Like,
so good.
Where did you come from? How did you end up in this heist? Yeah. And then it's like, oh, this makes me love you even more, you know? Yeah. So
I think my favorite male character is the professor.
Yeah, he's cool.
Just because I'm kind of like a I tend to get on my like absent-minded professor kind of way. Like I always had. I graduated school, and I had a degree in photography and digital media, and in my mind, I'm like, I should go get my master's. And the only reason I wanted to get my master's is so I can teach in college. I enjoy like giving lectures and stuff. Oh yeah. So whenever you have this guy that's a fucking criminal, but he's like a mastermind, and he's like, and they call him the professor, I'm like, I'm kind of sold. Yeah. I'm kind of sold on that character. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, we gotta bring you back. What show do you like?
I do love. I watched The Blacklist. If that helps. It's
Blacklist is great.
Yeah,
it's good.
Remington.
Yeah. Remington is good. So we all like morally ambiguous characters. That's good.
Like,
Raymond is great.
I always told her too. Like, if I was here in this world like by myself, like I didn't have any family members, nothing. It was just me. Like. No friends, nothing. I think I really would be like a great criminal. I don't know what.
Damn.
Exactly. Like,
not for the pod. Don't be saying that on the pod.
Nah,
I have deep desire to.
I am not a criminal. But like, I'm just saying, like, I think it would be so cool to either dedicate like Reddington's character is like, oh my gosh, I would love that. I know it's not realistic.
Money Heist is better than Blacklist because Blacklist still feels like we got to go through these episodes and it still feels kind of like TV-esque, like cable TV-esque. Money Heist is like cinematic masterpiece.
Yeah.
Like they film it so great. It doesn't feel like cable TV at all.
I've seen the first two. I think first episode. But yeah, I kind of like.
Is that your type? This is how I'm gonna segue into.
No.
Is that your type? What's your type? What's your type? If you like those characters, what's your type?
I actually hate men that like. Are like, you know, I guess that have been like in jail or anything like that. I don't like to be around those type of men. I think I like the more fictional aspect of it.
But then you just put Shia LaBeouf back on.
I know.
but then he's
like
right
this,
here. He's right here.
Like this, but like if they're like, you know, in the cartel or anything like that or whatever, like in a life of crime, no, I can't do that. I'd be too paranoid.
You wouldn't be El Chapo's wife. Did you see her court case? I saw the court case.
Wait, she never snitched, right?
I know.
She never did.
She was like, my man has never done anything illegal in his entire life. I was like, sister.
She held it down.
She held it down. She was like, yo, however El Chapo vetted this girl, she held it down. Yeah. She went to jail and everything. And she was like, I've never seen him do anything illegal in my life. He loved me. He loved everybody. He was a community. I don't know what you're talking about. Everything you're saying right now about who you think he is, nope. That's not my man's. Yeah. I was like, God damn, where do we find those girls? Because that shit was crazy, dude. That shit was wild.
Not here. Not me. Not me.
Cynthia's like, he stole $5 from CVS. Cynthia, it was an accident, but he did it though.
Cynthia would pull out. She's like, I actually have a list.
I'm like, look, just take it.
Just take it. Like, I've been doing your work for you. Thank you very much. Yeah, can I get back pay?
Yeah. Because a life like that just like it stresses me out. But I think it's just because.
So you wouldn't be able to date like a drug dealer or anything like that?
No, nothing like that. No.
That's good for you.
Yeah, I can't. I really would be paranoid, and not just for my safety, but for his safety. I can't be.
And then if you have kids.
Yeah, and no, I can't do that. I can't be asking you, what are you doing 24/7?
How about you? What's your type?
Yeah.
You like a bad boy?
No, I tell her all the time. I was like, I really like a blue collared man.
What does that mean? like mechanic, like works like a.
Yes, like I guess like a man who like goes out and like works like in construction or like you said like mechanic or
gets his hands dirty.
Yes, like
comes home, wants a white picket fence, just wants to like live on the burbs and like.
I think it's like that inner like your inner ancestors. That it's like I want like to do like the whole
like you want to cook for him. Yeah.
He's such a hard worker, and then it's like I have to ground myself and be like.
Remember, these are misogynists.
wait, remember what? All right.
Not all of them. Okay, put my camera on. Not every man that works in blue collar. I'm stereotyping heavy right now. Some of y'all are fine. Some of y'all are really hardworking men that got a girl at home and got a kid or two that live in the burbs and just want a simple life, and y'all are cool. I know some of those men. But some of those are fuck boys for sure. Yes, a good amount of them are fuck boys for sure.
And it's like, well, I think also too, it's like, I guess where that's the part of like dating. You're like getting to know your type. And I think that, but then I also like an entrepreneur like guy that like you know, has his own business and like, you know, doesn't limit themselves to like this like one particular job, and they have their own dreams that they're chasing because like we're gonna want ambition too, like we want to grow together. If not,
but what if the working collar man, his ambition is to create a family?
No, it's not my man.
Cynthia's like, I'll create the family.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that is not my man. I guess
there's different like different
types of
ambitions, right?
Okay, so now we're gonna get now we're gonna get into the nitty gritty. What are you looking for? You guys are single?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not putting you guys out there in terms of eligibility, but I'm just saying, like, what are you looking for? Are you looking for a working class man that is also has a side business?
I don't know.
Is that your perfect guy?
I can't even say, like, I'm just like figuring it out. Like, I'm not really looking.
Touche.
Like, I'm not looking for like someone, but like it's just like it does come across as in like, what would I want? You know what I mean? Because it's up to me. Like, I get to ultimately decide
100%.
who I want to spend my time with, and if I even want to like accept dates, or if I even want to spend my time with someone, because it's like, you know, we both know, like, we could be doing different things. Like, you have your podcast. You can be doing something with your podcast. We have our business. Like, I can be doing something with business. Yeah. So it's like, I think...
time is precious, yeah.
Yes, time is very precious. So I think it's just, like, I'm not really looking, but it's like, if someone were to ask me, and it's like, yeah, I'll go for it. Like, if it seems like it'll be a cool time, and I'll at least get something, like, out of it. Like, a nice conversation, at least. Like...
Or figure out if he is somebody that you would want to, like, see again. Whether that's with other men in that same, like, I guess, like, career place or anything, whatever he is, you get to just learn about what you like. I think that's what I like about dating. Like,
and your ideal man is just not a drug dealer.
Yeah, please. No.
Like, don't be into that fuck shit, please. Yeah. I don't have time to be worried about you.
Yeah, I can't do that.
But it's not. But you're not tied to a working class man.
No, yeah, I think for me, truthfully,
like, if he's an investment banker, you're good.
Yeah, like, money. My ideal man is Benjamin Franklin.
But if Benjamin Franklin looked like this,
yes, like
Brandon, come on, help me out. If Benjamin Franklin looked like this,
yes, the 100s.
Yeah. With the lokes and everything.
He is so.
He looks great, right?
Like, he would absolutely like.
My sister was obsessed. She watched this movie nonstop because she was like, Shia LaBeouf in this movie is crazy.
Yeah,
it's crazy high.
Like, now we know what movie's up next for us to watch.
Yeah, y'all go watch this tonight. You're gonna text me like, text is my favorite movie of all time.
You're gonna watch our followings go up.
Yeah.
Should I follow?
Yeah.
That's funny.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, but then what's your type? Like, or uno reverse it.
I like really independent women. Like, I don't have like a type in terms of like racial preference or like, not many aesthetic. I mean, hot would be great, but you know what I mean? Like, if you're hot, then you're hot, you know? But like, it's for me, like, if you're hot as a blonde and you're hot as a Latina, or if you're hot as a black girl, or if you're hot as an Asian, like, to me, hot is hot. You know what I mean? Like, and to me, like, maybe there's like some sort of aesthetic preference to some degree, but for me, it's a lot more to do with like personality and like how you carry yourself. If a woman is really confident and really independent, and I get the sense that like she doesn't really need me, I'm like really invested. You know what I mean? I don't subscribe, and I know that this exists in women. Like, you know, women like to feel provided for or taken care of, right? If I get and I say this because I've dated girls that are like this, if I get the sense at some point that you are expecting me to take care of you and that's the role that I'm supposed to take, I tend to get really turned off really quickly. Because, and maybe this is my bias, but in my experience, men that like to be providers tend to find women that don't have any ambition, because they want to, in some way, shape, or form, whether it's consciously or subconsciously, they want to be able to control aspects of that woman's life. And I just don't have time for that shit. Like, women are property. That's like a really big thing. This is going back to, like, you know, there's a lot of stereotypes about Mexican men, about being like machistas and this and that. I posted a video recently about where I'm calling out the Mexican community for like weird uncle behavior and shit. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it's blowing up on TikTok. It's crazy. I get most of the people are being like, yes, preach, and then most people are, and other people are like, not all men. I'm like, you're suspicious now. Yeah. So my father was big on like, women are property. You can't this whole notion that like that once you find a partner that they're not allowed to change their mind, or that you get to police their behavior, or you get to, like, women are property, plain and simple. If you wouldn't do that to a man, you can't do that to a woman. Like, it's just plain and simple. So for me, the simple notion that women are property is enough for me. If I'm dating somebody and they fall out of love with me and they want to go somewhere else, can't stop them. You gotta go. Like, there's no like if buts about it. Like, that's just what it is. So in my mind, the more independent a woman is, the more vocal she is, the more in tune with who she is, or the more she can talk about the world and have her own opinions, the more I get invested, because I'm like, oh, now it's way past the we're just talking to talk, or it's way past the like physical attraction. And now, like, I can have a conversation with you and I can get an opinion that might challenge me a little bit and might if not question me, or like, if not question myself, at least I get to see it from a different perspective. Like, oh, you arrived there. We arrived at the same place, but like from different perspective. That's valuable to me. So I really enjoy that. I'm not frightened or intimidated by women that know what they want and that are ambitious in that kind of way. For me, the worst kind of case scenario is if a woman isn't that, and I'm like, and I have so much to say about my day to day, and they're just like, well, I was just kind of waiting for you. I'm like, oh God. So now I feel like a sense of responsibility, like a sense of this. Like it's not that I don't like that, it's not that I'm shaming that, because there's women out there that love being stay-at-home moms. That's one of the most cherished jobs in the world that people don't talk about. That's one. My mom was a stay-at-home mom for a significant amount of time. So the fact that, like, as a society, we don't value that job as being important to, like, family raising and society, community building and stuff like that. Like, I'm an advocate for that. I'm not shaming stay-at-home, women. But I think in terms of, like, the thing that invigorates me as a person, I really enjoy being challenged, and I really enjoy people with really great stories and opinions that think about the world very critically. So if you're hot, and then on top, if I think you're hot and you're interesting, and then on top of that you have that, like, oh my God, it's really it's a selling factor for sure. It's part of the reason why whenever I was younger, in my 20s, I probably almost exclusively dated older women, because older women really could just tell you, like, this is what I want to do, this is what I want to do, instead of like kind of like going through the mundane, like, oh, but let's go here. Well, I don't know if I want to do that. And in my mind, I'm thinking like, man, I want to build this thing, or I want to build this business, or I want to do this, or I want to do this. And I'm like talking up my ideas, or like, oh, as an artist, I'm writing this song because I want to talk about, love in this way, or blah, 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 or this and that, or I want to travel to Spain, or I want to travel to Italy. That's Italy up there. And I'm like, I want to see what these people live like. And I want to see what this is. And if they're just like, I kind of just want to go to Chili's. I'm like, bro, Chili's? After I just talked to you about Italy? Like, I don't, you know what I mean? So for me, that's the kind of thing. And I have a lot of friends that have stay-at-home wives. Mm-hmm. They're working class men. And they have a beautiful, beautiful relationship, beautiful family, beautiful kids, beautiful everything. I love hanging out with them. Mm-hmm. But in terms of a partner, I don't know. I don't know if I'd be able to do that. I think I'm way too ambitious, and to a fault. Most of the women that I've ended relationships with has been because of that. Because I'm really ambitious, and I realize that, like, we're just not clicking, and I want to go here, and you're not willing to, like. It's not even that you're not willing to do that with me, but like, you don't even have shit to do. So I'm gonna go do that. You know what I mean? Yeah. Or you are that ambitious. There's a girl that I dated that is still very fond, which I guess I could tie back to maybe a potential red flag for you guys. But I'm really fond of. She's a really great friend of mine. We don't talk much, but she wanted to be a doctor, and she was on it, like, But I wanted to go in this direction. So, like, in terms of, like, attraction and, like, how we fit, it was great. But she wanted her life to go in that direction, and I wanted my life to go in this direction. And I'm like, as much as I like you, I'm not going to stop you from doing that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's insane if that's what makes you happy. And you're not going to stop me from doing this because that's crazy. Yeah. So now we just kind of like admire each other from afar. We're like really, you know, it's really, there's no like residual feelings there. Yeah. But either we end because there's a disconnect in our personalities, or we end because we're similar but heading in different trajectories.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Which is fine. Like either one of those for me is like, that's fine for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And it's like crazy because I feel like there's a show called Sex and the City that we just finished all of it. Like, okay. The movies,
Samantha,
everything. I love it.
Samantha's a queen.
Yes, I love Samantha.
Yeah.
And but it starts off with like, so why are there so many great women that are single, but not many great men that are single, you know? And I think it was something along those lines. And that's how it just started off the whole TV show. And then like, if
so you were sold.
Watched it, I was
and this
like,
was the 90s, by the way. So it wasn't even like this is a new thing. Like they've been on that.
I think it's crazy. Like,
Sid's like, man ain't shit since the 90s at least.
That's funny. But I think, it's just like, that TV show is just so valid now. Like I'm watching it and it's like I can relate to a lot of like different stories of like of all like how men are, like they date younger, they date older, and like you said, like you can date an older woman and like she most likely will like, you know what she wants. But it's like in like our world, we date older men and sometimes they're even worse. Like than my age.
Well, because the problem with men, and this is again, I've been talking shit about men for like a week, and people don't like it. So and like they've been calling me a simp on TikTok nonstop. I'm like, bitch, simp to what? Like, you know. The problem with men is that men, and this, I'm being like super sincere right now. The problem that men are having is that men have been told. This is not an excuse, but us men have been told that we need to be providers, that we need to do this and this and that. If you really think about it, the value that comes from men and the way that men get told by other men that are valuable has to do with what you bring to the table, right? The value that women bring has nothing to do with what they bring to the table. It has to do with how you look next to that man. You know what I mean? So that has its own problems by itself also. But in terms of just men, the problem now is that women have proven with good reason that they can do everything that they want to do, intellectually speaking. I'm not talking about like, can a woman be a welder? Like, I guess she could if she wanted to, but traditionally speaking, she hasn't done it and maybe she doesn't want to do it, and that's not a big deal. I'm talking about intellectually. She can earn as much money. She can get a high paying job. She can start her own law firm and be a boss-ass bitch if she wanted to. She can be a fashion guru. She can, right? There's so many avenues now that women can take where they don't necessarily need a man for financial gain, that now men come into the dating pool thinking like, okay, I've built myself up, I build my muscles up, and I just so happen to be 6'1", and I make six figures, so I make 100K. So, and I'm trying to find these girls, and these girls are now also hot as shit and can afford Louboutins and are making more than me. What do I actually bring to the table, right? And the problem there is that men at that point have to look internally, and instead of looking internally, men do what men usually do and fight. Because that's the other thing that people tell men that they need to do is they need to no. Maybe, but the easy thing to do is fight. Yeah. Oh, it's somebody else's fault. I'm gonna fight you. Oh, it's something else's fault. Yeah. I'm gonna fight. Right. Like where the real easy solution is, my guy, you can bring more to the table than just a paycheck. You can bring emotional stability. You can bring some sort of clarity of mind. You can bring your own personality. Just you being your own person could be enough to for somebody that's having a bad day, for you just to be who you are. But they don't see that as value.
Yeah.
Because men in general get told like, "What? No, don't show your personality. Buy the watch. Buy the McLaren. She's gonna get in your car if you have a McLaren, right? So there's a disconnect there where women have always, even when they were getting married off at 15, they've always wanted substance. They've always wanted this romance of, let me get a working class guy so I can pack the lunch because I'm proud of him, and because I believe in him, and because he's doing this for us and he treats me well. And like, to any woman that you talk to that says, if you have a guy that does this right, that comes home when he's supposed to, or not when he's supposed to, when he says he's going to, and whenever and he gets his, and he loves you and he cares about you and he wants a family, and you know his heart like that, would you be comfortable waking up and making him a fucking sandwich? Every woman would be like, yeah, because that's the dream. What I'm not comfortable with is making a sandwich for a guy that's gonna come home and say, where's my sandwich? As if I'm supposed to do that job, right? As if that's my job, right? As if like, because he gets this paycheck, he gets to just treat me the way that he like, however he wants, which is the disconnect, right? So now men are going into the dating pool, and these women are out there that are highly successful, highly educated, right? And these women are like, I still want substance. I want to be able to come home and not talk about my job, and be able to talk to somebody that I can relate to, that I can laugh with, that I can watch a movie with and like intellectually spar, or that I can like run off into the distance with for a weekend, and like he knows my vibe, and he knows, or that I can dance with or whatever. They still want the connection. And then a guy that walks into that space is thinking, well, I've got to bring this 6-figure job, and I make 110, but she makes 250. And the moment he walks into that conversation, he immediately feels emasculated, because he thinks that the only reason that he's there is for the 110. You know what I mean? And she's like, no, don't even worry about your money. Like, we're gonna go do this and this and that. And he can't figure out a way to grasp the fact that, like, just ask her if she's doing okay.
Yeah, literally.
You know,
treat
like
me well.
ask her if she wants some help.
You know,
ask her if she get right. And if to a guy they're like, that's not gonna work. Like, why don't I instead buy a Rolex? You know, and the girl's like, what the fuck's that gonna do with me? Like, what, I can't wear that watch, so why are you buying a Rolex for me? You know what I mean? Yeah. Where, you know, so we're running into these situations where, if you look at the stats, women are graduating college at a higher rate than men. Women are pursuing jobs that are higher earning at a higher rate than men. Women are then now the biggest demographic in terms of home ownership than men. And at the same time, you have these men that are like, oh, I want to be alpha. And like, you know, alpha men are the right. I'm like, to who? She's alpha. Like, she doing everything that you think you're supposed to do. And you can't even do that. You know what I mean? You can't even go halvesies on a house because the interest rate is too high, and she already took care of that. You know what I mean? So, you know, it sounds like I'm like attacking men, and I'm really not. I'm not giving them an excuse either. I'm just saying that it's really difficult for a large demographic of men that have historically been that have historically been told that their job is to provide, and then all of a sudden, when they can't do that job, they find themselves to feel useless, right? Yeah. Because nobody ever taught them that they could be useful by like being kind and being thoughtful and being right. Whereas women have always been told that the way that they can be useful is be mindful to your man. Take care of him. Whenever he's feeling down, make him some food. Don't even talk to him about his problems. Just make him some food, right, and just sit there next to him, right? Like, that's what you guys have been conditioned to do for so long. And then all of a sudden you guys got the bright idea to say, but you know what? I kind of want to start a business, so I'll just do both. Yeah. And men have been like, I just want to keep making more money. And I want to get the BMW so she loves it. And the girl's like, I got my own BMW. Like, what? Why do I need yours for? You know what I mean? I think that's where the disconnect is. Yeah. It sounds like I'm talking shit, and I'm going to clip this, and men are going to be like, oh, speak for yourself. You're just trying to simp so that you can get all these girls, like, to, like, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, trust me, dude, like, I'm not having any trouble with being around women. It's just that I also have a vested interest in making sure that us as men aren't fucking treating women like shit. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Like, it's literally like a chance to learn. Like, that's just all it is. Just learn and be better.
And look, I'll even throw a carrot on the other side. I'll even give the other side its just due. There are 100% women out there that know they are hot, that know how to do their makeup, and that know that at any given time of year, they're hot enough to bag an NBA player or an NFL player and just live a life of luxury because they know they're hot. And that they want to go to Miami because they want to get some .com billionaire or some tech guy or whatever, and they know that they can bring a certain type of tax bracket in because of just the way they look. The BBL industry is rampant. It is not dying. It is not dying off anytime soon, right? So I'm saying all of this in defense or in attack of men, however you want to look at it. But there are women out there that just want money and that are willing to say, talk to men however they want, make them feel however they want so that they can get the life so that they want. Yeah. And men will die on the hill that are like, oh, but she just wants me for my money, or she just wants to take advantage of me. So there are women that do that. But case in point, there's two women here that are like, not once I started the conversation of what your wants are and what your desires are, and not once did you say anything like that about how men need to have X, Y, and Z tax bracket, or because you want a lifestyle where you can go to fucking the French Riviera and you want to go to the Mykonos, and like you never once said that. You guys talked specifically about the kind of romance that you want, right? So yes, there are women that do that in the same way that there are men that are fucking, full of shit. But it's just not as prevalent. The majority of women, I believe, just want a good partnership. And they're willing to make sacrifices here and there. And these guys that are constantly trying to look for a girl are looking for girls in the wrong places. Yes. They're looking for girls at the places where girls go when they want a .com millionaire. And these guys that are not millionaires are showing up to those places and they're saying to themselves, she just wants me for my money. Bro, you ain't even got the money. You're not even the guy she's trying to go there for. You know what I mean? You work at the refinery, my guy. Like, you're not it. That's not the guy she's looking for. You know what I mean?
But crazy. Like, I literally went on a date too with a guy that he was like asking, because like the word provider, right, can mean anything for me. Like I want somebody to like add, when I say provider, I want
that's a good point,
to add, into my life.
Yeah.
And you can take that how it is, because I'm not going to tell a man either how I want you to provide in my life. Like I want you to already know that you're kind, all this and that, right? But if you're taking it as I want money, you're not my guy.
You're already in the wrong mindset.
Like that's why when you tell, like, I always said this too to all my friends who like are dating. I'm like, when you tell them that you want somebody that's romantic, don't tell them how much, or like don't give them anything. Just say you want somebody that's romantic, and then they'll show you what romance means to them.
It's really hard for me to be romantic.
Yeah, and then you decide if that level of romance that they're giving you is enough for you, and if it is, you stay. If it's not, you move on. Period. Whatever like your values are, right? But like I literally went on a date with this guy who I did say I would like a guy that adds to my life, so he took it as like provider, right? And I was just like, okay, yeah, we'll leave it at that. Like, why? Because I was like trying to see how he was thinking, and he was like, well, what do you bring to the table? He literally asked me that. And I was just like, can I see your table? Like, what can I see the table you're talking about? Because, like, I was, like, turning it back on him. I'm like, because I have my own house. Like, I have my own car and all that. You don't even have your own house and your own car. So I'm like, I want to see this table.
Case in point.
You're talking about.
Yeah. Because I'm bringing the table.
Yeah, I'm bringing it.
You're coming to my table, my guy.
And then, like, you could tell, like, instantly he was like.
Classic. And he got turned off, right?
Yeah.
Immediately he felt offended. He's all like, oh, you're like, I don't bring anything, right? But that's the point. Like, if I was going to offer him some grace as a guy, after you left that table, I don't know if you like just left or whatever. Okay,
I didn't leave like right there, but I was like, I don't think this is gonna work out. But it was like really nice to
see you. Okay, yeah, so you're very nice.
Yeah.
But if had you left after that conversation, if I wanted to give grace to that guy, I would have said, my dude, you lost the plot. Like you got offended over, and she wasn't trying to offend you. Yeah. She was just saying what she has. And the fact that you don't have what she has makes you emasculated because you thought that you were going to bring that. And you're stuck with this romance that like, oh, but like somebody that really likes me is going to fucking grind with me and be in the dirt with me and like believe in me. And I'm like, that girl didn't even know you whenever you didn't have anything and you still don't have what she has. So you want her to then stop doing what she's doing so that she could believe in you? Believe in yourself.
You don't even have the table.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, right?
Plates. Where's the table?
Whereas as a guy, if I was to tell him, I was like, if you had handled that situation and you would have said something like, man, I've got to be honest with you. You have this house, you have this car, like I see it, it's really attractive, and I like it. I'm starting to feel like I really want to be around you, and I really want to do this, and I want to match that energy, but I'm not there yet. I don't know how I would do it, but I can tell you right now that like this means something to me. This interaction, maybe not you, because you guys, you like, you know, don't know each other that well, but like this really means something to me, and it's making me like blah blah blah. Like if you just attacked it even in that way, you're gonna get somebody that talks back and be like, that you would have probably said, you can correct me if I'm wrong, you would have probably said something to the effect of, I never brought up my house, I never brought up my car, I'm not, you know what I mean, I never said any of those, I'm already here at this date, something about you already made me get here. And instead of him being like, something about me already made her get here. Literally. Right? He's like, nah, but like, no, see, you're just trying to trap me. You're just trying to trap what, my guy? Like, you're like, you trap what? You're dead? Like, I'm not trying to trap that, right? So, yeah. If he would have just attacked it differently, then he would have probably been able to, at the very least, get some further interactions with you. Yeah. And then he would have been able to reflect, and then maybe you would have been able to see the rise of his ambition or what his plans were all along or this and that, and then he would have been able to give himself a chance to get you to believe in him and then get right. Yeah, but immediately, because of what I'm saying, of how men get really emasculated and insecure about that kind of thing, it's like
they go into fight mode.
They go into fight mode or flight mode, and or, you know, whichever one, both at the same time,
and then they fly.
And they fly, right? So it's just really unfortunate, and I don't blame, like, and then it becomes a bigger issue, because as a guy, I can talk to him after the fact and be like, yo, you kind of fucked up, right? But as a girl, you should not be shamed in you being like, I don't want to talk to him. Yeah, he's an ass.
Literally.
You know what I mean? Like, why should I give him the excuse if he's the one that treated me this way? If he's the one that assumed all this shit about me already? Yeah. And then there's the revolving door of like men being like, nah, but they just want you for this and that or blah, 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 because she treated me this way. And then girls are like, I am under no obligation to treat you X, Y, and Z. I don't know you, my dude. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like it becomes a revolving door. But in my mind, whenever I analyze it, I'm like, I've been treated bad on dates. I've had bad dates before where I'm like, oh, I've had bad dates where I know they don't like me, and I've had bad dates where I don't like them, right? But never have I been in an interaction with somebody where I've said to myself, the problem is them, or like they're the issue here. I've always said to myself, I know what I have, and I've worked on what I have, and I'm not letting that go. I like everything about who I am. I know who I am. I know what I enjoy. I know what is non-negotiable, and I know what is negotiable in terms of my life. Mm-hmm. I built that first, and I'm gonna keep doing it. A woman is not that lifestyle is not contingent about what you know, whether a woman is there or not. I'm gonna keep doing that because I like that. Mm-hmm. If somebody comes into my life and they want to explore that or share that or whatever, blah blah blah, then I get to make the assessment, right? But there's never a conversation in my mind about like, oh, I've built this and you just want that. And there's never been a conversation in my life where I'm not sure of myself and I'm talking to somebody and I don't know what I bring to the table. You know what I mean? Yeah. This goes back to the women on property thing. If somebody wants to provide for you and that's what they think their job is, then they think you could be bought. And really, there is no buying. There is no sale, right? And people look at it like that. And I'm like, there is no sale. I'm me, you are you, and we either fit or we don't. And there's no love lost in whether it happens or if it doesn't, right? Literally, there's no animosity whether it happens or whether it doesn't, right? If I choose to keep going in that direction, then great. But I'm not stopping what I'm doing. Yeah. To try to like fix or not fix, but to try to accommodate X, Y, and Z. Like, I'm already doing it. And I've been doing that since before I had any aspirations of like what a partnership should look like or whatever, right? And I think that's the difference, is that most men, whereas I really like my jobs, and I find a lot of meaning and fulfillment in doing all the things that I do for myself. Most men are like, I want a high paying job so that a girl can like me, and I can give two shits if women like me for what I do and what I don't do. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah, like, and most guys are like, I want the BMW because I want the girl to like me. I want the Rolex so that a girl can like me. And I'm like, I don't really like watches, but if I get into them, I want a watch that I like because if it's what I like. I can give two shits if a woman likes it or not. It's me. I want her to like what she likes. You know what I mean?
It's also like if a man comes around like flaunting like money, you're gonna attract a girl who falls for money,
who just wants money.
You know what I mean?
Literally,
so it's like if you can't be mad at yourself because that's how you picked her up. Yeah, like, you got her because you were flaunting your money.
Yeah, you were over there being a peacock, and she was like, "Okay, let me pluck all those feathers." Yeah. And then when you got no more feathers, she's like, oh, "Fucking women are horrible." No, dude, well, you're just in the wrong spaces.
That's also like one thing. It's like. I like for me honestly like a man who like flaunts everything he has is icky. I was like, you don't need to tell me like you have this like, you know, materialistic things. Tell me like if you're just telling me like, oh yeah, like I have this car, I have this, or like, you know, I have like 10 bands sitting on my wrist right now, and like you're flaunting it in a cocky way. Yeah. It's icky. But it's like, but if you start with maybe a story of how you even got here, then you have my attention.
Right.
It's like that's more meaningful. It comes down to like if I go out on a date, I want to like sit down and have at least a nice like conversation, because it's like if not, I'd rather be at home. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'd rather be doing some other shit if I'm gonna sit here and just like, because I can't do like fake talk or anything, you know, I'm just like, you know what, like, I'll just cut it short. Like, if I'm really not feeling it, like, just be honest. Like you said, like, I don't really care. Like, if we don't work out, we don't work out. It's cool. Like, I know what I want, and if it's like, if you're not what I want, then, like, what are we doing here? Let's just go. Like, what are we doing here?
It's funny. You were talking about my teacups, right? Yeah. Like, those are mine. Like, I bought those, and I bought them because I like them, right? Yeah. And I bought them because there's a old quote that I really like when I was reading a whole bunch of stuff a long time ago. But this woman writer, I'm gonna shame myself eventually because I can't remember who it was, but she said she's whiskey in a teacup, and I really took to that quote, and I'm like, man, that's kind of like the perfect woman. Like you got to be hard to handle. It's an acquired taste. It's not for everyone, but like in a pretty package, right? Yeah. And I'm like, so ever since then, I just every now and then if I see teacups that I like, I get them, right? Yeah. And I remember one time this was in Houston, at my house, and the teacups were out, and I had a girl over, and they were like, why do you have teacups out? And she literally said, that's kind of like really feminine. And I'm just like, okay, like that's fine, I guess. Like I like my teacups, like whatever, right? And then I think it turned her off. Like we still saw each other eventually, like for a couple times, and then it ended up fizzling out. But I remember it took to me, and I'm just like, why do you but like in her mind, she was looking at it, and she was like, oh god, this is kind of a red flag already. Like this, like why does this guy have teacups, right? And in my mind, I'm like, I can see that, because maybe stereotypically, like, why would a guy have teacups, right? But also, like, you don't know anything about me. So you don't know how, what, where, why, like, what's the rationale, blah, 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 this and that. So I found it to be very, like, oh, well, I guess, like, you know what I mean? And it wasn't like I was flaunting it. It was just there. We were already at my place, you know? Yeah. And I'm just like, oh, okay, well, you know, I wasn't insecure about it. I'm like, I like my teacups. Fuck it. Like, what, you know?
You're secure.
Yeah, like, what, like, one, I don't have to explain it to you. But then two, like, so
she
what?
Didn't even ask you. Yeah. Like now that has a whole new meaning.
And I could have, and I could have told her like, well, I got it because it represents the kind of women that I like independent. And I could have like turned it back and tried to like big her up. But in that moment, you're not that girl, so I didn't want to do that. Yes. In that moment, I'm like, you actually aren't a hard, you know, an acquired taste or like hard to handle, you know, in a pretty package. You're just a pretty package, and you're kind of hollow, actually, you know. and so I don't really fuck with that. You know what I mean?
It's also like what you say. It's like I feel like also a main thing is women like are hard like to handle, and I feel like it always comes down to like if a woman like wants to express emotions, for a weak man, like that's like being dramatic, or like, you know, like how you said, if you go and date someone who is not like emotionally there, like cannot be emotionally there for you, then they're not going to be like that safe place that you can like freely be yourself and like tell yourself, oh, like, you know, we all have bad days. So it's like, and then it's like if you go and tell a man that doesn't talk about emotions that you had a bad day, it's gonna be like,
just get over it. You'll be all right.
What do you want for dinner? Like, you know what I mean? It's like, no, like, I want to talk.
That sucks. Like, or something like that. Like,
I'm sorry you felt that way. What would you guys consider, like, green and red flags? Not now that we got into the whole thing, right? Like,
I've always told her, not necessarily I guess a man that is in tune with his feminine, like, energy, I guess. Because
what does that mean?
I guess, like, I like a guy that is in tune, like, with his emotions and, like, knows how to, like, if we want to cry, like, just fucking talk. like
you saw the land before time, you gotta cry,
like,
dude. Yeah.
You know, I've told her one of my favorite guys that I dated is because he was very in tune with his, like, feminine energy. So, like, he would do, like, things like that. We would talk about, like, our emotions, stuff that I've never really done with, like, a lot of men that I dated up till that point. He would, like, if I wanted to sit down and cry about something, like, he would cry with me and stuff like that. I don't know. I think I like that's a green flag. Like, I think a man that just knows how to talk about his emotions.
So
and
then a red flag.
I hate that's even like a thing that I even have to say. I think a lot of men should do that. But yes, a red flag would be
somebody that's not in tune.
That is just like, I haven't cried in years. You gotta go.
I cried when I was 5.
You gotta go. Do not talk to me.
Or the type of man that it's like, oh yeah, like,
these are the same men. These are the same men that won't cry at a love story, but will cry whenever, like, the soldier dies.
Yes.
In, like, a soldier movie. You know what I mean? Like, they'll be like, he died for his country. I'm like, shut up. Fucking relax, bro. You won't cry at the girl that, like, they found love again, but, like, the guy that died because he like, the terrorist shot him. Yes, you're like... Good.
Or they post their car more than their girl or something.
Oh, I lost my car. My car got impounded. Might crash my car, and they cry after that. Joe, that's crazy. Okay, I'll give you that red flag. How about you?
I guess... I think for me is like a guy who tries to come off like too perfect or too ideal. Like, I think
that's a red flag.
It needs to be a balance, because then I also feel like you're creating like a persona, like a fake, you know, like it's like all a flaunt. Like,
I've had that happen with girls before
where
too.
It's just like, if you come off too strong, where it's like, I guess, I don't know the way to word it, like, care.
Like, you want this, like, I'll give you this. Like, because you want it.
Yes. Like, which is like, that's why I'm figuring it out, like, as well. Like, that's why we date, because we run into guys who, like, show their, like, you know, true, like, fuck boy right away. Okay, great. At least, like, you're showing me, like, who you truly are. And then it's like, then you have a guy who, like, may act like too perfect, where it's just,
but it's
like,
secretly the fuckboy.
Yes, but it's like you're trying to cover up something here, you know, like, it's like, sus, you know. So
what's worse than a fuckboy?
I don't know, like
a serial killer or some shit. A drug dealer. Yeah, that was a good callback. That was a cool. Gosh. Yeah, in my mind, I went straight to like, what's worse than? Sorry.
But yeah, I mean,
no, a drug dealer is good. A drug dealer is good. I apologize. Okay, that's good. So then a green flag would be somebody that doesn't hide his flaws.
Yeah, and it's like, just like, your life isn't like perfect, like we said, because it's like, if you come off where like every day is like perfect, nothing goes wrong, then like you're also like that's not true. Like, you know, everyone, like, we all have hard times, like, and bad days, so it's like, share it, you know, like, tell me, like, if something really is going on, or just be honest, like, maybe something didn't go ideally how you wanted it to go, and it's like, okay, like, that doesn't mean we stop there, let's reroute it into like a new thought, you know. Okay. Like, stuff like that. But like I said, yeah, like, I feel like that's like where I'm at. It's like, I'm barely like trying to like figure out like these, like, you know, green, red flags, like, but it's also something like I don't go out and look for, so it's
because, like, you're busy.
I'm just like, I guess I'm
24 too, you know.
But you're busy.
We're still all young, but, like, you know what I mean. She's like barely, like, I feel like getting into.
I'm glad you said that, because I would tell people I'm 32 and they're like, "Oh, you're a little old." I'm like, I don't feel old.
No,
I feel young as fuck.
We had this conversation.
Yeah, I feel.
Like, how old do you feel?
Yeah, I'm like, I feel great. I feel like I'm just fucking hitting my prime. Like, I feel like nothing can stop me.
Yeah.
That's good. I feel like those are good though. These are like women. These are like really women answers. Mm-hmm. And if you ask guys that, they're like, "Oh, red flag is if
BBL.
Or not even that. Sometimes they're like, if all she wants is money." Like,
it's always money.
It's always money. I'm telling you. I'm telling you.
If I can provide for myself and you can't provide for me, then like it's over. If I really
or like when a guy says like, if she can't go half on a date, you know, they're like, I'm like, come on, dude, really? That's the red flag. But then they'll be like, well, they get mad whenever we don't pay for everything, and I'm like, well, maybe you're hanging out with the wrong girls,
or don't invite me to this. This is a date you planned.
Yeah. Exactly. Right. Yeah. I don't think I've ever been on a date that I didn't pay for because I invited. If I invite you, my assumption is I'm willing to pay for it. If you do the check dance with me though, it's kind of hot because I'm like, I know you're willing to do it and you're really fighting me for it, and I'm gonna win this fight because I might have already paid for it. Mm-hmm. Like, especially if I'm taking you on a date, I might have already talked to the waiter outside of it beforehand. I might be like, look, here's the card, like, you know. But if they do the dance with me though, I'm like, okay, at least I know that, you know, where it's going. And then for me, it gives me an excuse to be like, okay, well, how about you get the next one? And then now I know there's the next one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think I just personally like my mindset is like, I'm not ever gonna be limited by money, right? Ever.
Yeah.
So I like a man that like, even if things don't work out with like all these girls he's dated up until me, he doesn't care that he has like not even wasted money because he is learning things about himself. That's the whole point of dating.
That's the whole point. Yeah, it's a good point
about yourself. And also, there's free things you can do. So like that's
bro, let's go to the park.
You know,
you try to spend money at the park.
Yeah, we're talking about romance, right? Like you could do a really cute ass picnic somewhere. Like, you know.
Yeah, y'all really love picnics.
Yeah, we do love picnics.
Yeah,
but like,
I love
I'm just
picnics.
saying, like, you know, you don't have to go to that extent, but like
picnic on the beach, next level.
Yeah.
Picnic on a rooftop, level 3.
Well, that's also another thing too.
Take notes.
It's like wanting, I guess, like someone who like thinks outside of like.
I just gave away secrets.
The box,
yeah,
you know
I just gave
away
away secrets right now.
Like that, like she said, like it's not always just like somewhere. Like a restaurant or something, like more personalized, like, you know, because it's like if you're really going to date someone, like the longer you date them, you get to know them, and then it's like you need to be more like specific in what you're doing, like, as in like it gets more personal. Like it's like oh, like she mentioned, like, I don't know, she likes this, so like how can I incorporate this in like our next date where it's not just like a first date vibe, always like dinner and then
right.
a drink or something, you know what I mean? But more personalized. And it's like, and I think that's what also like some men don't realize, it's like it could be like a literal like cheaper like date, but it's more romantic, it's more meaningful because of the thought that went behind it versus like taking her to like the most expensive steakhouse downtown and like you know, it's like I've had both, and it's like I prefer like, you know, the more personal ones where it's like, wow, I feel like really special, like, you know.
Do you prefer that one because in relation to the steakhouse, you know, you can get your own steak?
Yeah, well, literally, it's just like, well, and we talked about this because it's like, well, having a sister is like awesome because it's just like, no, I don't want to go with him. Let's go, me and you. Like, you know, like, why would I go out on dinner, like, with a guy that it's like, I really don't want to go, like, when I can just take my sister.
There's that stereotype that says that, like, women will go out on fancy dates just to get food.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, I'm sure there's maybe one or two women that like it, but I'm like, I'm telling you, my guy, women are not going to want to spend an hour and a half with you just because of food. You're not that interesting, my dude. Like, you know what I mean? Especially not at first. Like, you know, like even me, like I can guarantee you a woman doesn't want to spend 2 hours with me, and I'm very comfortable with myself. So I can guarantee you a woman doesn't want to spend 2 hours with me just because I'm going to pay for the fucking lobster. I guarantee you. Even if she's broke, she's like, ugh, I got to deal with this guy. Like, I'm sure she's going to say that. For me, my green flags are... Like, I think the first one that I would probably notice more than any other is if they have a really great sense of humor. Sure. So, like, if their sense of humor is, like, I don't want to say really intelligent, but, like, if their sense of humor is, I guess, sophisticated, if they can make jokes about, you know, situations, if they can be sarcastic or if they can, like, understand a lot of satire and stuff, I'm like, okay, this is a green flag because I know that I can, like, try to... talk about things about the world and be a little bit more comedic, and it makes for a great conversation. This might be controversial, but for me, a red flag is if she talks bad about her exes.
Yeah, we've actually said that too. Like, I don't think that, even if it went bad, right? Why bring that into the next person?
I just think that I guess my instinct is like, if you're saying, unless, I mean, I'm sure it might have been really bad.
Yeah.
But like, if it was really bad, just be like, I'd rather not talk about that. It was kind of like a bad thing. Like, and you know what I mean? And I don't want to bring it up, but then I also don't want to like badmouth somebody. Even if you say it like that, it just shows I have a lot of respect for you. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because I know that may be a story that I want to hear one day. And I know that it's a sensitive issue, so I should approach it that way, right? Mm-hmm. But if immediately it's like, oh my God, he did blah, 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 this and that, blah, blah, like all this, I'm like, oh man, like, I don't know, like, what are you going to say about me if like we don't get along at some point? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I'm not perfect, so I know that like we might misunderstand each other sometime, and if you go out of your way outside of our conversation to put it in bad context, I'm like, oh God, like I don't, you know? But I'll even go as far as to say, like, in terms of the ex thing, like, a lot of people have said this is a red flag about me, but I'm perfectly okay with people being friends with their exes. To me, that doesn't, again, like, I'm not an insecure guy. So, like, if you tell me I dated this guy and we're still friends, in my mind, I don't, I'm like, okay. I mean, you tell me, like, you know, I'd like to see how let's all hang out together. And if, like, you know, if I don't see, like, there's any tension or anything, everything feels, like, normal, then, like, why should I give a fuck? You know what I mean? You're with me now, you know? I'm not an insecure guy like that. I'm not possessive like that. So I again, women are property. So I'm like, okay, if that's the one you want to live your life, and he has a friendship value to you, like, well, who am I to get in the way of that, right? But I'm friends with my exes. I'm friends with a considerable amount of my exes. Maybe, like, two girls that we don't talk at all, that it was like maybe some bad blood there. But for the most part, like, I'm still friends with my exes. My parents saw one of my ex at a restaurant in Houston like 2 weeks ago, and they talked. She texted me afterwards. She's like, I just saw your mom. It was so nice seeing her, whatever, blah, blah. And then my mom, like 2 days later, was like, hey, I saw her, blah, blah. It was nice seeing her and her husband and her I think it's her baby daddy. And, like, you know, it was nice seeing them. I'm like, oh, that's great. I'm sure you guys, you know, yeah, she texted me. She said she really liked seeing you. Like, for me, it's like nothing, you know? Mm-hmm. I'm perfectly okay with being around women that I was around before. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Especially if it ended with no bad blood. I mean, it might have been hard at the beginning, but, like, if I ended it and I know why, like, I don't have any problem. And so I wouldn't feel that way the other way around. It'd be different if I was like, I'm friends with my exes, but I don't want you to be friends with your exes. Like, that'd be really hypocritical. Yeah. But because I'm comfortable with that, I'm like, yeah, I can see a world where you're still friends with their exes. Mm-hmm. Because the girls that I'm friends with that we dated, they're husbands / boyfriends / whoever they're involved with, they know about me, and we all still hang out together. So if that could happen with them, and I'm nobody, like I'm nobody in their life, it's not like I'm trying to, like, rekindle anything or whatever, then it could 100% happen with a girl that I'm seeing and her ex or whatever. Yeah, you know what I mean? So a red flag for sure is if they talk bad about their exes, but it's not necessarily a red flag if they're still friends with their exes either. You know what I mean? Yeah. So,
yeah. I think, well, like, I feel like for at least me, we all have exes and stuff, but, like, if I'm on a date, it's because I'm, like, genuinely over it, and it's like there's no point whether it ended well or bad. Like, they're out of my life, and it's like something that I can do, like, pretty well with is like losing people in my life, and, like, not have, like, whether, like, you know, it's like a close friend or, like, a boyfriend, like, I don't really feel the need to keep those connections around, like, ever, like, because it's like I'm onto, like, better and new things where it's just like,
that's
like,
fair too.
It's just like I just simply put it like we didn't work out, because ultimately what happened is, like, we didn't work out. No matter, it doesn't have to go into the details or anything, but we just simply did not work out. He's not what I wanted, so, like, that's why I'm here, like, on a new date. You know what I mean? So,
but you've never have you been in a situation where it didn't work out, but there were still aspects of that relationship that would have worked well as friendship? Like there was still an aspect, like we could communicate really well, or they're like we get along in this aspect, or we get along, you know what I mean? That would have been would have translated well into a friendship.
No, I don't think so. It's
that's fair too.
I think it's just like I said, like just like for me, like moving on means like we just like we just simply leave it here. Like there's like an ending to like, you know, like every book, every chapter, like that's the end, and like I'm flipping the page and like life goes on, and it's like no harsh feelings or anything, but it's just like you're not gonna be like the last person I date either, so it's just like I know there's like more to this, like, and like you said, it could be hard at the beginning, but then it's just like I feel like that's just the way I move on. It's just like
that's fair.
out of my life, and like just move on with it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You've never felt that way?
Well, no, none of my exes, but like I am like in a situation actually now where like I am talking to like a guy as friends that I used to like not, I mean, I guess we dated for a little bit. Like nothing.
Could have just been like a mess around or something.
Yeah, I guess sneaky link. Like,
what
is that? And she knows about it too. But like him and I, like one thing I had told her, I was like, when I had when we hung out recently, like it was really nice to just have that friendship.
Yeah.
And that really changed my mind, because I used to be like, no, I don't think I'd be friends with anybody who's friends with their exes just because I'm not, right? I want the same level of like that. Not even saying that there'll be temptation or anything there. It's just like, I think like if I'm not doing it to you, like don't do it to me. Period. Yeah. And so, but I'm actually in a situation like with him, like I really do like his friendship, and I like him in general, and I actually like care about him as a friend.
Yeah.
But I don't see like any other.
It's completely platonic.
It's just, it's so weird. I've never been in this situation, because like I do care about him like how I care about like my other friends. Yeah. And it's like really weird.
And it just so happened that you guys might have like fucked before. And that's fine. But it probably won't happen to you again.
No, it will not happen again. But it's just like it's really weird, because I've never been in that situation. So I think that's changing my mind a little bit about maybe being.
But that's fine. Yeah, that's what I think. Where you'll find some trouble is if you find a guy that you like, and then you tell him, well, I'm friends with this guy, and we were involved in this way, but that is not happening. I think you might deal with the insecurity of the new guy.
So for like example,
you know what I mean?
Like. Yeah, like that's why I think it's so important to talk at the beginning, because if I'm with a guy that has been cheated on, right, or has been in a situation where like, oh, she cheated on me with her best friend, right, her male friend or whatever, I think I would take that a little bit more into consideration, because he is my man. I'm not saying like that. I mean, I probably would drop the friendship if it meant like.
I wouldn't.
Like if it meant like that,
I wouldn't, because it there's also something to be said about personal responsibility. Yeah. If you're gonna walk in with baggage and you expect me to fix it, that's the red flag. That is true. You know what I mean? Yeah. If your girl's been cheated on and said like, well, this has happened to me before, this and that, I'd be like, okay, I get it, and I'm gonna empathize with you. I'm not gonna shame you for it. Yeah. But also like, it's not my responsibility to fix you.
That is so true.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And I've heard that more from women saying to men, it's like it's not a woman's responsibility to fix broken men. You know what I mean? So it also works the other way around. Like, I'm cool, I'm comfortable with my life. So like, if you have your own internalized whatever that has happened to you and you haven't gotten over it, then I suggest like maybe talk to a professional. Like I'm in therapy, you should be in therapy. Like you need to figure something out. You know what I mean? But like, and I'll empathize with it. Like I'll understand like, oh, this is why she's acting this way, or oh, this now. I'll empathize with it. I'm not gonna like be an asshole. But after a certain point, it's not my responsibility. And if it starts to become more of my burden, then I'll say it. I'll be like, hey, look, I think that this is like, I empathize with you, but I think at this point, if this is true and you can't process this the right way, then now it's affecting me. Now I can't even be myself, because I constantly think that I'm going to be compared to X, Y, and Z, or that I'm going to, affect you or trigger you in a certain way because of X, Y, and Z. And that's not my response. I got shit to do. Like, it's, so like, I'm not a babysitter. Like, I really am not. Like, and I've had girls that view me as a bank account or this and that. And I'm like, if you want a father figure, you need to go to therapy. I'm not a father figure. You know what I mean? I don't have kids for a reason now.
That is true.
You know what I mean?
Because like, I wouldn't walk into a door and like have them like into their home and be like, no, you can't be friends with her because this happened to me. That is so true. I would never like tell anybody to that. So yeah, that's true.
But I mean, I think the more important thing is that like, at least for you, like, you're very empathetic and you care enough about a person, you'd be like, okay, like I gotta see it from your perspective. I actually think that's one of the most valuable things about women in general is that like there's a huge sense of an empathetic nature to women in general that men don't have. I think the most prevalent emotion that men have is insecurity. I think that almost all of the things that men do are all because they're insecure. They've built countries, they've built coliseums, they've like, build all this, and it's all because they want to impress women, and they're insecure that another man is going to do it better than them. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And they'll say like, oh, we built societies. I'm like, yeah, but for what? Because you wanted to get laid, my guy. And you fought another society. Why? You didn't partner with them. You didn't create some relation. No, you tried to conquer them. Why? Because you were like, oh, well, if they take it from me, then I'm going to lose what I have. And if I lose what I have, then nobody will be here with me.
They literally set the system up for themselves to fail.
For themselves to fight each other.
Fail in that aspect.
You know what I mean? So like, whereas women, the entire time that's happening, they're like, I see where you're coming from. And the guy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the guys are like,
what?
And the guys are like, but if he takes it from me, right?
Yeah.
Like most decisions that men make are because of other men, not because of women.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Literally, it's really crazy. Like they.
It's kind of gay, actually.
Like they're trying to like impress.
I'm just saying, you're trying to impress other men, like
They're always in like competition.
Yeah, like my muscles are bigger. Like, why you looking at my muscles, dude? Like, it's true. My car is better. Why you ain't even looking in my direction,
Yeah, no. That is actually, like, true. Yeah, they do spend most of their time, like, in competition, like, with other men or, like, literally, like, competing with them. Like,
yeah, it's not fun. But
That's why it's just like why I feel like nowadays it's like that's why you have so many women that like just don't date because it's like my single life is like so much fun. It's all about like me because it's like, and I'm not saying like when you get in a relationship you change like your like perspective or anything, but like you do dedicate more time now. You share your time with someone else.
It's funny. I think I have had more relations with women whenever we've both been single, because women don't want to date, and they know that I'm really straightforward. So then they'll be like, I just want this. I just want X, Y, and Z. And I'll be like, okay. And then after X, Y, and Z like I've had more times like that whenever I've been single and the girl's been single than whenever I'm in a relationship or whenever I'm pursuing a relationship or they're pursuing relationships.
Yeah, and it's because like women are just like you said, like we're realizing like, well, like I can take myself out. Like, and I always tell myself, like I always ask myself this one question, and it's like if I'm ever like contemplating whether like I want to continue seeing someone or not, like I'm just like, would I rather go out to eat by myself or would I rather go like sit at a table with them? And it's like if I would rather sit by myself, then you have no good, like you're bringing nothing to the table, like we said, or like not even like if I can't even have a good conversation, then like what's the point of me going? I'd rather go out and take myself out on a date. And it's like I think that's something that someone should always do is like, it's like take yourself out on dates. Like literally date yourself, go do stuff that you like, and then you'll quickly realize that the men that take you out on dates, like those dates are like boring and like meaningless and just like I'd rather.
I take myself out on dates all the time, bro. I'm like, bro, I fucking love it. I be going by myself. I'll be telling Brayden sometimes. I'm like, man, I went to this place, but like I went to go lead here, but it was good.
Yes, it's so nice, and I think that's like one thing is just like women are just like realizing like we like. We are told, like, we have to be married at a certain age. There's just, I feel like, more pressure on women, too, because it's like if you want a family, you have, like, a certain age restriction, too, right? Like, of when you should have kids. Like, you're being told by doctors that you need to have kids by this age. And it's just, like, women are just not realizing, like not even thinking about kids. Like, we're thinking about ourselves now. Like,
we're
not thinking about kids. So it's like, I feel like that's where, like, this tension is between men that want to flaunt their money and stuff, and women are like, I really don't give a fuck about your money. I have my own money, and I have my own plans.
There's a lot of tension.
So
it's a tug of war, like, for sure.
Yeah, and it's like, it's like where I think that's where like the dating pool is at now. It's just like it's hard to really meet someone that like you would want to spend your valuable time with, you know? So
yeah, because like I always said too, like if a guy wants to be the breadwinner, like he deserves to be in a relationship where he is that. Like there's nothing wrong with what you want. It's just I can't be that for you, or vice versa.
Yeah, and to be fair, there's women out there that will gladly be a stay-at-home girl. And like, you know what I mean, and that would gladly do. There's plenty of like, and I think that's ultimately the thing. Like men and women aren't monoliths. So if for every woman that wants to be a high earner and a top performer and have a business and live her own life and and explore her life that way, there's also a woman that's like, I really just want to be at home, raise some kids, because that really, I feel like that would fulfill me.
There's some women out there that all they want to do is be a mom, and that's like perfectly fine too. And it brings them so much joy, and it brings them value, and it brings them meaning in their life, and and they don't have any problem with it. And the truest same for men. For every man that wants to go out there and be the breadwinner, there's also a man that's like, I don't mind if I'm not the biggest breadwinner in my house. I don't mind being a stay-at-home dad. Like there's a guy out there that'll do that. I think the problem is for both is whenever you say women are supposed to do this. I did have a Twitter thread that I sent you that you read, I think, but you haven't read it.
I have not read it.
Right? And the Twitter thread, can you pull it up? The Twitter thread is... women were asked to share reasons why they stopped talking to a man, and here are some replies. So let's see. Do you guys want to read one? Let me see. What does it say? I think this is the.
But some people consider petty.
Okay. Go. Click the next one.
I told him I was ill, and when he came over to my place, he said, "Is that why you couldn't cook when you know I was coming over?" It's just been 1 week I met him.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
I would have slapped him.
Dog walk this dude out of your house. Is that why you didn't cook in her own house? She came over to my place.
He came over to your place and asked you why you didn't
cook. You didn't cook for him coming over to your place.
And you're ill.
And you're sick.
He should have brought the food over to you.
Yeah, he should have been like, yo, I brought you some caldito de pollo.
Yes,
like, so, you know?
You should have done something but talk.
But say that. That's literally the worst thing that you could have said. All right, exit out of this, and then you got to go to the actual thread. So if you scroll down.
After talking to me for some days, he said I press my phone too much, even while I'm on my WhatsApp call. And that's when we finally start dating and I visit, he'll be seizing my phone. What?
Seizing your phone? Bro, taking a phone away from your girl is crazy. Y'all men are the problem, for real. Like, I'm reading this like I wouldn't even dare.
Not even my mom could take my phone when I was little. It's funny because we're like the generation that actually like stood up to our parents and said like, you're not going to tell me what to do anymore. And it's like in the Mexican culture, that's huge, especially as women, because it's like there's so much like harsher on women, like parents. Like it's like, you can't go out, no puedes salir, you can't do this, blah blah blah. And I was like I'm gonna go out.
Why can't we?
Why can't I? Yeah. I'm gonna go out and like.
Why?
Why can't I
go? Why? You went out. If you don't want to go out, you don't go.
Yeah, you don't have to go out.
I'm not inviting you anyway. What's the next one?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Okay, one time a former friend introduced me to her single uncle. We went out on a date. I ordered jollof rice and Chapman. Baba Video called my friend to show her me and said to her, see how your friend is. No, I don't understand this. I think there's a language barrier here. Go to the next one. I went on a date with this guy. Being considerate, I ordered the least, I'm guessing she means expensive, least expensive thing on the menu. He ordered for whatever he will eat. And after the bill came, he said I should pay. And it's a test. After I ordered for my Bolt, this man says he wants me to drop him off. So she paid.
That's crazy. And she...
Wait, drop him off and she picked him up too?
She picked him up too?
No.
I think that's just like like, you know,
That's crazy, dude.
We each set our own standards, but like, I am not picking up a guy for a date. No.
So that's a little tradition. So you'll meet him there, or he has to pick you up?
I'll meet you there, like the first few times.
That's kind of fair too, though. That's kind of fair
because
too.
I also don't want you to know where I live.
Damn.
You know?
Like I said, I'm also a person too that if I'm not vibing, I will leave. But I'll leave. Like, I will leave. I will leave. But
Deuces.
I can't have you picking me up. Okay.
Okay, go. What's the next one? What's the next one? Somebody.
We were on our way to a dinner date and having a convo and on some morality stuff. Suddenly he said, "Oh God, this one, you're this strong-willed. Hope you'll agree to do abortion when the time comes." Told him to immediately reverse and drive me back home, and that was that.
That's fair.
That was the correct response.
That was the correct response.
Right back.
Actually, that might have been mild. That might have been a mild response. The correct response might have been, "You got me all the way fucked up. What is wrong with you?" And then gotten out of the car and then gotten the Uber for herself. Like, I don't want to be around you, dude.
I would have had 911 pulled up so fast on my phone.
That's crazy. So and I'm not even anti-abortion. I'm pro-abortion, but like, don't tell me off the top.
Yeah.
Like,
not me.
I think it's even like the entitlement, like you thinking you're even gonna get to that, like,
dang.
position.
So she
Like,
put
you're
she put him in his
there,
place.
and we're not even like over here, and you're already over
You're
here.
already over there. Like, when the time comes, or like. Time ain't coming, my guy.
It is not.
Time is not on its way. None of us are doing this.
Okay, we went on a date, and after a bottle of wine and chopped goat meat, Baba turns to me and is like, "See, as your stomach is big," with disgust on his face. Like, we both just finished eating, and his stomach was way bigger than mine. Like, whose stomach wouldn't bulge a little after feeding?
That's crazy. Bro, y'all have no shame out there, bro. Y'all have no shame at all. That's insane.
Wow.
I wouldn't even know what the heck I would have said. I don't know.
That's crazy.
I would have said what she said. Like, your stomach is bigger than mine. What
Dang,
the
what?
Are you really coming for me right now?
That's crazy. Also, how much goat meat did they eat?
Yeah.
How much do you eat on dates? In general,
not a lot.
Not a lot. I don't eat on dates on purpose. I don't eat a lot on dates on purpose because I don't want to be like burping and stuff. Like, and I purposely don't order certain food because I don't want to like.
You know what? I've been in situations where if I like them, I will order like wings, especially bone-in, because I'm just like, can I see myself eating comfortable around him? Even if it's the first date, I don't give a fuck. Because like, if I don't like you, then I don't like you. If you don't like me, then
I wouldn't order wings on a first date.
I would.
I wouldn't order wings. Yeah, it's fine. But look, think about it. Okay, this is gonna be. You can make sure my camera's up.
What?
If I eat wings, if for some reason, like obviously I'm gonna wash my hands and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
But if for some reason, like, it's not all the way clean, and the date goes really well.
It sounds like you've had this happen.
I'm just scared of it.
Wait,
I'm just scared.
like,
yeah, what if I have wings and we're going? But like I'm gonna wash my hands, but I still get paranoid. I'm like I don't even want to risk it.
Well, wash it like
because then like you get like
times.
like fucking. Because then I'm gonna be in the
You're gonna be
bathroom a
like,
long time. But like why is she still?
Or why don't you just
under your nails?
Just
like,
ask
I
for
just get
gloves.
paranoid. I'm just
Ask
a
for
paranoid.
gloves. I asked for gloves.
Eating wings with gloves is crazy on a
No,
date.
well, I think...
Would you eat wings with gloves on a
I
date?
would. Well,
I'm just gonna get the steak. It's more expensive anyway.
true.
I'll get this. I'll get the steak. I'll get the steak and I'll cut up my New York and it's all good. Like
I guess it's
but
like
I
a
just
sensory thing.
I just
Yeah,
get paranoid because I'm like, oh, like what if the nails and like you know what I mean, underneath the nails and stuff, and I'm like. Yeast infection. That's crazy.
See,
on the first date is crazy. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm like not.
You're like that other guy that said about the abortion. You're like, if this goes, like, when time comes.
But I won't tell her that. I won't tell her
ahead.
that. In my mind, I'm just like, this might not be the safest, the best thing.
You're already planning ahead. You guys are right
I'm just
here
cautious.
and
I'm
you're
just
over
cautious. I'm just cautious. I'm just cautious. I'm not.
Okay.
I'm thinking about.
I don't expect it. I don't expect it. But I'm just cautious.
Okay, you're just like, just in case.
Just in case.
Okay.
Just in case you really like me. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Okay, my turn. After warning this guy to allow me to get the snacks for our Netflix date, he insisted that he'll get it. And he showed up to my door with 1 loaf of bread and 2 bottles of Fanta. Worst part, the bread was not Butterfield and the likes on what? A sake bread or something like that.
What?
So
a loaf of bread and 2 bottles of Fanta.
That's the snacks, bro? Not even meat? You can't even make no sandwiches?
Damn.
I think it's the fact that there's no like condiments or anything. Really.
He insisted.
He insisted.
After warning this guy to allow me to get the snacks, he insisted, and he came back.
What just sent him back?
What would you do if a guy showed up with snacks with 2 bottles of Fanta and a loaf of bread?
I would have been like, why not 2 loaves of bread? Like, you showed up with 1, at least show up with each of us.
Would you have kept the bread though? Or would you send him back without the bread? With the bread? I'm gonna keep the bread.
That was orange Fanta. We could probably.
But like, what are you gonna do with the bread?
Red Fanta, then we're on to something.
But like, what are you gonna do with the bread? Are you gonna like you just eat bread?
You can make sandwiches.
But he didn't even bring the stuff for the sandwiches.
Well, that's why you kick him out and you keep the bread, and you're like, okay, I'll use this.
I'll eat some sandwiches.
Give me some bread.
I would be actually pretty speechless on this. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know what the heck I would
like.
say.
You don't know what you would do.
I really would not.
I really think there would have been like a moment of silence where I'm really thinking like
where we're looking at each other at the door and we're like, huh.
Like one of those movie moments where they just like stare at each other like. And
or you're
nothing
looking like
said.
back and forth at the loaf of bread and him.
You start thinking to yourself, do I have bread? Like, am I missing
wait,
bread? When's the last time I did groceries? Because I might need some bread real quick. This is gonna depend on me right now.
That's crazy.
I don't think, to be fair, as a guy, I would never show up to a woman's house with a loaf of bread.
2 Fanta bottles.
I'm not sure. If I say snacks, I'm going to ask. Like, I'm going to bring a bottle of wine for sure. I'm going to bring, like, I don't know. I'm going to ask what snacks do, like sour snacks, like chocolate, like, you know what I mean? I'm going to, like, bread is not snacks.
I literally would have thought he thinks I'm like a bird or something.
No, see, like, well, if they would have said,
You a
like,
bird.
if they would have said, like, bolillo, then, like, that's
Damn,
different.
that's different.
That's
like,
different.
See, if you
But
Mexican,
if it's,
oh,
like,
we bringing it back.
bread.
Some bolillo bread, and you go put some mantequilla on it.
And with coca, well, I would do with
But like hot chocolate and bolillo is fire though.
Yes, have you ever had it with coca?
Like dip it in the coca? No, I've never.
Look
never had that.
Okay, that is weird. Okay,
Damn, if you show up to a guy's house with some bolillo.
Actually, wait, he's onto something. Drop the snacks and give the bolillo and the coke.
Damn,
Yes.
so we made a whole reversal too. Make it bolillo. Maybe that's what Butterfield meant. Maybe it was autocorrect and she meant bolillo.
If you made it bolillo, it's better. But,
Damn, that's great. Okay, let's do one more. One more. He bought me ice cream, then took almost everything while talking about his ex. He then returned the leftover to me. Yeah, that's fire. That's like, you gotta go out. You gotta leave. That's not good. Ate the whole ice cream? Why couldn't you get her own ice cream?
Why were you sitting there eating that and not offering her any while
and
you were
were
talking?
just talking. At least if you're gonna talk about your ex, offer me a damn fucking plate of ice cream to go along with it.
Man,
That's crazy.
That's crazy, dude. You guys want to do one more or no?
Yeah,
these
are funny.
These are funny.
Many reasons. Okay. All right. Somebody read.
After a what is VN?
What does VN mean?
Oh, I'd like to make you moan. Oh, wait, what? I can't stop imagining how it would sound. Just a random friend. After some minutes on a call for the first time. So, babe, what crazy things can you do? Me smiling and replying with bold eating. What?
Yeah, this
doesn't
doesn't make sense. Some
I
of
think
these don't
we're
make
missing-
sense.
This is like a whole story.
Okay, 6 months into the relationship, he said, "Your money is our money. We will share everything. I commit slippers and ran. Don't pick his calls again."
This has to be like in a different language. Like some brothers,
I'm like, are we tripping or something?
but like 6 months in,
Was this
your money is our money. Hell no.
Yeah, I would have ran too.
Even if a girl says that to me, I would never say that to a girl either.
6 months in, man.
I dated a woman once that was rich, and not once did we ever talk about money. Not once did I ever like bring up money, and I knew she was loaded. I knew it for a fact.
Yeah.
And not once. I'm like, that's corny, dude. Like, why you bringing up that? You know. So for a guy to be like, for a guy to tell a girl your money is is our money now, like
crazy. Those type of men.
What is this? Like
keep me
third
far
grade?
away
What are we doing? A tanda? Like what is this? Like that's crazy.
I would have told him I lost everything.
Yeah.
I gambled everything.
On you. She said I would have told. She had an escape plan.
Yeah.
She had an escape plan immediately. Okay. I think we're getting close to the end.
Yeah.
Put mine on.
That's funny.
All right, so we've had
Cuidate, ATX here with us. We had a really great time. You guys should come back. We should shit talk some more because this was really fun. And I need a Austin co-host with that S. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Tune in. Degenerates. This episode will be up really soon. We hope you like it. Hope you guys liked a little change of pace. We didn't talk any politics. I didn't talk to any business about business nitty-gritty stuff. This was actually really fun. This was like a nice change of pace. Please check out Cuidate ATX. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, do the whole thing. We're completely self-funded, so if you guys can please make our YouTube count go a little bit higher, that would really go a long way to being able to create more content for you guys. I won't end it. You guys can do it to your camera. You guys give your pitch. Tell everybody where to find you. Tell everybody where you are and where to find your stuff.
Yeah. Thank you guys for watching. And I think the only thing I have to say is remember to take care of yourself so you don't end up in any of these crazy dating scenarios. Date yourself, take care of yourself, and love yourself.
Cuídate.
Cuidate. You can find us on Instagram at cuidate.atx and TikTok.